Welcome to Presidential Smackdown Week 2. Hey guys, welcome to another week of Presidential Smackdown. Thank you guys for viewing our first week. Go back and watch it if you haven't. Me and Andy will go ahead and start breaking down the standings after all that week 1 action. Andy, we had some interesting results. We had some winners we weren't expecting, and we're gonna go ahead and post the standings right now for you guys to the left of our big foreheads. Andy, we have some interesting divisions here right now. I mean, the DNC North looks pretty strong.
Yeah, Ashton, that DNC North, even though JFK lost our primetime game from last week, is still a very, very competitive division. Competitive. FDR had a bye week last week, so we're going to be very excited to see how he performs later in today's video in week 2. But the DNC North is a division to watch out for. Another one for me that's very surprising is that the RNC, might I add, RNC West, with Gerald Ford beating Reagan in week 1, the biggest
Mhm.
upset of the week. He's up there at 1-0. Reagan goes to 0-1, and Nixon also lost his battle of impeachment. He lost that impeachment battle too against Clinton last week. So that RNC West is not looking as strong as we thought.
Yes, Andy. It'll be interesting to see how our new contestants, the people who had a bye week in week 1, come into week 2. I'm interested to see how they do, and all the returning players that come back to see if we can get some 2-0 starts, Andy, or is it going to be a very competitive season the whole way long? So you guys gonna have to stick with us as storylines start to develop, as we start seeing winners and losers. And these divisions are going to be, I think they're going to be really competitive because it is a pretty lengthy season. Andy, you have over 10 weeks of play, which each person playing 8 games, so they get 2 buys. So it's going to be very competitive, and whoever is you know standing at the end will be the best of all the presidents.
It will be a very interesting series, Ashton. We've already seen that from week 1, these upsets and some dominations that we didn't see coming. So we're very excited about this series. We're hoping you guys are enjoying watching this series as we're kicking off week 2. I'm very excited to see this, primetime matchup tonight. It's going to be a very big one, so you got to stick around for that. But guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and kick off week 2.
So, as you guys are watching now on your highlights, we have George H.W. Bush against Woodrow Wilson. This game was a very competitive game the whole way through. Wilson and George Bush were duking it over the more typical Midwest states, swing states, Florida, Arizona type. And you really see this Midwest region just completely open by the later part of the game. And on election day, California was actually a swing state, so it was pretty interesting to see these two just duking it out. I didn't know who was going to win. They're both pretty even with a lot of 50-50 states at the end. But George H.W. Bush ends up pulling out a pretty solid victory compared to Wilson. A lot of the swing states went his direction, and he ended up winning California. So California ended up being the backbreaker for either candidate, and it ended up going for Bush. All right, guys, as you're watching now, we have JFK versus FDR himself. This race looked very uneven towards FDR at the start. Um, you just could see he was starting to run away with it. JFK had a really good mid game. I had no clue who was going to win this. Mid game, there were a lot of gray states, a lot of purple states, and they both looked even completely. Like you can see in the popular vote, it was like 47, 47, 46. California, again, was a very swing state that potentially had a lot on the line for either candidate. So as you guys can see, the home candidate JFK is able to get a good solid win. He's able to fend off FDR from picking off California. So guys, as you're watching this now, we got Harry Truman versus General Ford. Ford, a surprise winner in week one. It was interesting to see how he continued his week one success. And he started off really, really strong. Truman looked like he was in an incredibly weak position besides Michigan. And as you can see, California is very competitive for Ford. Of course, Truman has a good pickup in Florida and Michigan. But if you're a Democrat and you lose California, it's very hard to recover from that. And you can even see at points in the game, California is solid red for Ford. It's only until like a little bit later in the game, the Democrats pick it back up. So on election day, it is a very even game, even with the Republicans leading by one in the popular vote. And as we watch the returns, you can kind of see Ford and Truman pick off a bunch of states from each other's core. You even see a point where Truman picks off Kentucky and Indiana, just like stealing small little states here and there from Ford, which I was a little bit surprised. Ford ends up taking Iowa. I mean, this is the other election where it was surprising to me because California wasn't that competitive in week one matches, but this week had a lot of competitiveness for the biggest electoral prize on the map. And you can see Truman fends off Ford to win off of California. Another election, that's 3 elections decided by California in this week alone.
So, guys, moving on to the next matchup of the week, you have big old Taft taking on Teddy Roosevelt. It was a good game. I wouldn't say by any means it was a blowout. I think that throughout the game, as you guys are watching this, you're going to tell that Teddy Roosevelt basically had control for the majority of the game. There was portions and parts of the matchup that looked like Taft might have a chance to come back, but really never did. You look through, weeks by week, and just, at points Teddy was blowing him out, but Taft would never really allow him to get that much of a lead. You go towards election night, and Taft gets some of those crucial states to go in his favor, like Virginia, like Wisconsin. He gets those swing states in his favor, but the problem is he loses too many to Teddy. Like, he loses Florida, he loses Michigan, Minnesota, and another one that sneaky Teddy Roosevelt stole was Oklahoma. That was a big, big state and a crucial state in changing this outcome, because as you guys are getting closer to the end, you're going to see that Teddy Roosevelt wins this matchup 280 to 258 electoral votes. So it was a very close game. Teddy just had enough states to carve out a victory, Oklahoma being one of them. Minnesota, Florida are big keys in that cog to that win, and holding on to those Northwest states and the good old New England states that he held on to. Total popular vote count, Teddy at 78.3 million, while Taft had 69.04 million. So almost a 10 million point difference, but only a 22-point difference in the Electoral College. And Teddy Roosevelt wins and gets a good win in week 2. Moving right along, guys, we have Abraham Lincoln taking on George W. Bush, Baby Bush, in our next matchup. As this game gets going, you're going to see a lot of, honestly, a very close race, a lot of back and forth. For a majority of this race, both California and Illinois were up for, 50-50 kind of, could Lincoln steal this away from the Democrat, which in this case was W. Bush. That did not happen. California eventually did go to W. Bush, but still, the fact that it was in play was very crucial for Lincoln's, kind of win here. A big state that was important for this election was Florida. Really, it all came down to Florida. Whoever won Florida was going to win, which
caused W. Bush to spend a lot more time and effort into Florida, more money there, more time there, causing Lincoln to be able to go up in the northwestern states and steal away those states from Bush, ultimately sealing his fate. Lincoln ends up winning both Washington and Oregon, winning Florida, Wisconsin, Minnesota, just picking these states off from Bush. Bush does get Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Michigan, but that is not enough to win the day. Lincoln goes on, wins a 314 to 224 electoral college. Looks like a blowout, but then you get to the popular vote, and Lincoln only wins 79.88 million to 790.42 million. A difference of only 40.46 million people. Crazy close game, but Lincoln gets the win. Alright guys, moving on to our last battle of week 2 before our primetime showdown tonight. It's the impeacher Richard Nixon taking on Ronald Reagan. It's an interesting matchup. But as you guys can see, as the matchup is getting underway, Reagan really takes control early and keeps control for the entirety of the matchup. Like, Nixon could never just get a holding and lost a lot of his key states that are usually the Republican side. Reagan wins very crucial swing states like North Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and even Florida he ends up winning. Really good states for Reagan that catapult him to the win. But what takes him from a win to the blowout territory is, as you can see, he keeps the southeastern states and West Virginia as battleground states. He does not win all those states. But the fact that he is battling, making it a 50-50 toss-up in the southeast, in places like South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, and West Virginia, that's crucial for his win. I know Reagan ends up winning Alabama and he ends up winning South Carolina. He steals those away from Nixon, which just adds to his blowout territory. He also wins Missouri. He wins Tennessee. He wins Kentucky. So Reagan just comes out swinging, wins the day, beats Nixon, gets a solid win. Reagan gets a 350 to 188 electoral count win, an 840.46 million popular vote to 720.64 million popular vote. So Reagan blows out Nixon in week 2 and gets a solid win.
All right, guys. Without further ado, let's go to our prime time Friday Night Light matchup. On one side, we have the Hope candidate, Barack Obama, taking on the military man in Dwight D. Eisenhower. Stick around because it's going to be fun. All right, guys, here we are. Our primetime matchup. Let's go ahead and get this thing started, Ashton.
So, Andy, we have Barack Obama taking on Dwight D. Eisenhower, big old Ike. These are two titans, both presidents who won their re-elections. It's going to be interesting to see how each handles the other. I can already note it's interesting that Ike already has Pennsylvania. That is a solid pickup early on. We'll see if he can keep it. But, so far this week, I noticed with the Democrats, there were a lot of competitive games for California. I had 2 games end up with whoever won California, and it was a swing state, both going to who would end up winning. Andy, which states are you looking for to decide this matchup?
But honestly, the states that we've already seen flip to Eisenhower, you look at North Carolina, that's already likely him. You look at Pennsylvania, well, now it's shifted back to the neutral state, but was for Ike there. He also has Arizona. You can see the bottom left of your screen. So far, he's doing good, holding his ground against Obama, who honestly beforehand I was thinking would be kind of a blowout. You
Mm-hmm.
see now Dwight Eisenhower picking up 2 ideological points there, which is really helping him in these swing states. He gets Florida, he gets Michigan, he gets
Well,
Wisconsin.
I think it was very interesting. Obama was up in the popular vote 47%, and Ike was still getting a advantage. Now it's kind of evened out more, but that's not looking good for Obama right now because he's losing in a lot of critical states.
There's only
Um,
very few states that are solidly blue. It's not as much as we're used to seeing.
ooh, fracking.
I mean,
Yeah, Obama has to do something because he is starting to get on blowout fringe. Like, it's easy to come back at this point in the game, but I think me and you have seen if this stays this way at week 15, it's almost game over. It's pretty hard to come back from a map like this on week 15.
Oh yeah, I mean we're just going through this game so far, and Ohio solid red, Texas solid red, North Carolina, Georgia, Michigan, all solid red for Eisenhower. States that, except for Texas, Obama picked up in 26 and 2008 and 2012, stuff like that. This time around when he's facing someone like Dwight Eisenhower, he's not as favorable down there, and you can see that the southeastern swing, except for Florida, all going to Eisenhower. And it's getting
Ooh.
closer. We're getting closer to the midway point towards the end. VPs are now in the game. That's going to shift the dynamic. And you also see in the Northwest, those Northwestern territories,
Ooh.
states too. Obama's struggling to keep those.
Yeah, he needs to try to target Minnesota and Wisconsin, hopefully pick up Pennsylvania and win all his solid states, but he's struggling to keep the states like Maine, New Hampshire, Washington in his own column. Like, he needs those states. And like all I see Ike doing is like sewing up states to keep the blowout. Like Florida just flipped. So this is it's looking tough for Obama. If Obama ends up winning this, I'll be very surprised.
He
Okay,
just got Minnesota, which is helpful for him. But that's the only swing state he's gotten so far. You look at South Carolina now has been, you got that pink now, which could flip either
yeah,
way.
he needs to go Virginia too. You can't forget about Virginia.
He might steal Kentucky though. Look for
Oh,
Kentucky to be a
look
big.
at the popular vote. It's 47-46. We might be seeing a comeback here, Andy. He
There we
now
go.
has a lot of
In the states,
it
the
is starting to
Northwestern
swing
boys.
towards him. He got Nevada. Now the Midwest is up for grabs. South Carolina. Let's look at South Carolina. It's still possible for him to win it. Virginia is leaning against him, though. He has to win.
Kentucky looks like 50-50. If you look at Kentucky real quick, Ashton, it's
Yeah,
really close to
wow.
50 in Kentucky right now.
Iowa is 50-50. Arizona is looking for Ike. Washington.
It's
Ooh.
almost over. We're getting closer. A lot of pink. Oh, Florida just goes solid red there. It's going to be. I still think Eisenhower can pull this one off, even though the popular vote is showing Obama by 1%. I think Eisenhower has got this win.
All right, Andy. We'll go ahead and slow it down here before on election day you have Obama up by 2% in the polls. This to me is not a done deal for Ike. I think he blown a electoral college advantage pretty easily in those last 3 weeks.
Yeah,
What do you think?
you look at Ohio, that was a solid red state for Eisenhower throughout the whole matchup until very recently, where it's flipped to that neutral state. I know it's still 4% up on him, but if that 4% undecided flips the other way, he could lose Ohio. You look at Wisconsin, that's another close state that he lost, along with Michigan. Iowa slipped through his fingers. I'm not saying it might not be enough to keep him from the White House, but if he does lose states like South Carolina, Iowa, ones that are gimme states, Obama might be able to pull this upset in this comeback.
Yeah, Andy, this is a 50-50 race. All Obama needs is two of those Midwest states or Florida, and he can pull up the upset. I mean, the only swing state Obama is tied in is Virginia. All the rest, he is looking or polling like he's going to lose. Or, well, Iowa, he's leading in too. But it's pretty amazing. So let's go ahead and see who pulls out this victory at the very last second.
Let's also make sure when we go to state by state to slow it down so we can kind of react to it a little bit more in
Oh,
depth.
Obama had a last second power play for Florida. Let's see if it pays off.
So far, so not expecting no shocking results there. Pennsylvania goes
Oh,
Eisenhower, but Obama gets Virginia. He doesn't get South Carolina. He
whoa.
steals Florida. That is it. That's enough. He's going to be able to win this, in my opinion. that's going to be the thing that Eisenhower is going to wish he had.
We'll see.
This is coming down to the wire, Ashton.
Yeah, it's gonna be close. I still don't know who has it. That would
Although
help a lot. Iowa will be big.
he had to win that state. Now he's going to have to pick off one of these other states.
Oh, I may have it. I
He's
don't
got to get
know.
the Northwest. He's got to get one of these other southwestern states
And
if he wants it.
that's it.
That's the game. Eisenhower wins. What a crazy.
Wow.
Obama is going to lose a 283 to 255 electoral count. I did not see this going coming. Also, I don't. Is his VP Democrat? What was that Andrew Jackson? Is his VP? So that's not the smartest decision. But it's so sad that Obama gets upsetted in our week 2 primetime game against Eisenhower. Ashton, what are your thoughts right now?
Yeah, Andy, it that was a neck and neck battle there at the last 3 weeks. All Obama had to do was pick off one more state, and it was really close. Arizona really decided it there. Obama did what he had to in Florida, making that last second power play, but he had to win Wisconsin or Michigan, and he couldn't pull out either. Winning Iowa was nice, but that wasn't enough. And yeah, that was closer than I expected, given where Obama was mid game. So you can definitely come back in these games, but you have to have everything fall your way, and Obama just didn't. It was a close, tough match, though.
Yeah, I thought it was, like I said, when we went and Obama won Florida was just so crazy. But the fact that you have Eisenhower picking up Pennsylvania, picking up every single Rust Belt state except for Minnesota, was just the key to the difference. I know losing Iowa wasn't the best, but that's 6 electoral votes versus, 15, 16, 17 of those Rust Belt states. That's what propelled him to the victory. It was very close. I'm still very shocked that Eisenhower beat Obama. I think that's something that none of us expected, and that just goes to show you that anything can happen any week in this presidential smackdown.
Yes, Andy. Both of them were 1-0 going into this game, so it's a very important game to kind of lay a statement that you're in this league and you're ready to continue wrecking shop. And Ike proved it. He took on who arguably had one of the best wins in the first week, and Obama couldn't compete that with that same momentum going into week 2, and he dropped. And it'll be interesting going on into week 3 to see if Ike can pull off another win. Andy, do you have any last second thoughts?
It's been a crazy, crazy 2 weeks already, Ashton. We've seen upsets, we've seen dominations, we've seen everything in between. It's been a lot of fun, and we're going to keep on rolling week after week until we find out who is the best president. Of course, according to the simulation, but still the best president in this presidential smackdown.
So, guys, tune in week 3 for our big match against, wait for it, FDR versus Baby Bush, George W. Bush, or George W. Bush. So you're going to see some compassionate conservatism against some New Deal liberalism. So go ahead and join us, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in week 3.